must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
I want to call upon the people of Abazonia today, wherever you are in the diaspora in Abazonia itself, that in a struggle you are bound to have divisions. But divisions should not divert you from the main focus, the main challenge. We have struggled to expose the happenings, the human rights abuses in Abazonia. The army has killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, burnt houses of people, internet was cut off, schools were closed, dispensaries, hospitals were burnt down. Abazonians should not be intimidated by Paul Robia. It is not upon the leaders of Abazonia, because I am not from Abazonia. But I've played a pivotal role in making sure that I loud out the voices, I put out the call, I call upon AU, EU, United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. Many of them have listened to some of the things that I say here, and they have come at last. America, United States of America, is slowly moving towards giving the Abazonian people the dignity they deserve. I therefore call upon the leaders and the leadership of the Abazonian people to unite for a purpose. The unity of purpose is paramount as opposed to disunity, which has nothing but only produces ego that we have seen in South Sudan. What has killed South Sudan is not because they don't have the money, the minerals, the resources. Is ego between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. We would not like to see that ego come to the people of Abazonia, the leadership of Abazonia. I call upon Samuel Sako, Akanga, Miran, and Eko to unite and talk with one voice on international scene that will bring about the peace, the tranquility that you yearn for since 1961, when the resolution 1608 was abandoned by the United Nations General Assembly and Abazonia was annexed by the Cameroon government by then. I call upon you, my brothers, to pick up the unity call and free your people without disintegration. Thank you. I want to call upon the people of Abazonia today, wherever you are in the diaspora in Abazonia itself, that in a struggle you are bound to have divisions. But divisions should not divert you from the main focus, the main challenge. We have struggled to expose the happenings, the human rights abuses in Abazonia. The army has killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, burnt houses of people, internet was cut off, schools were closed, dispensaries, hospitals were burnt down. Abazonians should not be intimidated by Paul Robia. It is not upon the leaders of Abazonia, because I am not from Abazonia, but I've played a pivotal role in making sure that I loud out the voices, I put out the call, I call upon AU, EU, United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. Many of them have listened to some of the things that I say here, and they have come at last. America, United States of America, is slowly moving towards giving the Abazonian people the dignity they deserve. I therefore call upon the leaders and the leadership of the Abazonian people to unite for a purpose. The unity of purpose is paramount, as opposed to disunity, which has nothing but only produces ego that we have seen in South Sudan. What has killed South Sudan is not because they don't have the money, the minerals, the resources. Is ego between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. We would not like to see that ego come to the people of Abazonia, the leadership of Abazonia. I call upon Samuel Sako, Akanga, Miran, and Eko to unite and talk with one voice on international scene that will bring about the peace, the tranquility that you yearn for since 1961, when the resolution 1608 was abandoned by the United Nations General Assembly and Abazonia was annexed by the Cameroon government by then. I call upon you, my brothers, to pick up the unity call and free your people without disintegration. Thank you. Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa TV, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi. It is 8 o'clock. I think 5 minutes past 8 o'clock East African Standard Time. Good morning, wherever you are. Good, I don't know, lunchtime, wherever you are. This is The Punch. The Punch is a show that calls it the real thing. We don't beat about the bush. We just punch, and we tell the truth about many things that affect Africa. This evening in the studio with me is none other than my co-host, anchor of Punchline Africa TV, Miriam Ogutu.
Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
We look, tuned up for the weekend.
Very well.
And our clothes seem to be matching.
The African feeling is.
There is an African feeling for Fridays, the weekend. The topic we have before us, viewers, is a very serious topic. It touches the judiciary. Judiciary of Kenya. Elsewhere, you people in Africa, we've taken a case study for Kenyan judiciary. But I can already see Nigerian people, my people from Biafra, and others are saying the one in Nigeria is worse. Thank you very much. The judicial system in Nigeria gone as well. Thank you very much for giving us that information. We want to have more views as to how it is gone. Remember the Chief Justice, yes.
Once we're done with the Kenyan, I think whatever Annie Don is talking about the Nigerian
Yes.
judiciary, it's really bogus, and we'll talk about it once we're done with the Kenyan situation.
Situation.
I have some stories.
And as you see, the worst thing of the Nigerian judiciary and the Chief Justice is that his certificates were eaten by the termites.
The Chief
So
Justice
we have a Chief Justice
of
in
a country
Nigeria who might not have even qualified.
Probability,
Yes.
yes.
So here we are. In Kenya, we have somebody who went to school but lacks. He's incompetent. He can't run in the court. That's it. Looking at the mirror and evaluating itself, Kenya's judiciary has indicted itself many times. A study by the judiciary found out that court cases delays impact evaluation diagnostic study report that was actually conducted by the court themselves showed delays were a collective problem that could be addressed through concerted efforts by the judicial officers than the lawyers themselves. So the court conducted in an internal, audit
of itself.
In Kenya. It wanted to find out why the cases were not moving, why there was delay, why were malpractices. And it came out in the mirror itself. This is the court. Remember, the Chief Justice Maraga took over from the former Chief Justice Mutunga. Former Chief Justice Mutunga might have had his difficulties of maybe being very stringent on particular things and being a hard man to crack. But he was very intelligent to run the court. The court improved. People had confidence in it. Things started moving very well. Everything was ICT. And, he cracked on corruption. He never kept. You remember the Madame Girardes Cholet? She shouts these days a lot, but her case was in court because of overpricing houses and other things in the court. So these are the things that the former Chief Justice had laid a foundation for the judiciary. Today, this evening, we are going to go slowly. Maybe we might find out. We might help. What are the pitfalls of the judiciary, the Kenyan judiciary? What are the pitfalls? Is it, Miriam, the criminal justice system? Because we might be killing judges, but they might be saying we have a wrong law. We have wrong laws, wrong constitution that allows us to ties our hands. Is it the criminal justice system? Are there obstacles in Kenya's judiciary, in Kenya's system that brings this arm of government into disrepute?
I think it has been proved from what we can see what is going on in the Kenyan judiciary, even some elements in the Kenyan judicial system. And we know the Chief Justice now, he's not been mentioned in any scandal. He's not known to be a corrupt person. But we know a lot of people who are inside the judiciary, who are part of the Judicial Service Commission, who have been mentioned in scandals in this country, who go work against the law that they're supposed to be protecting and the law that they're supposed to be serving and giving Kenyans. So you wonder if this is the kind of the judiciary we have, and these are the people who are mandated with making sure that the justice wheel of this country moves smoothly. But some of them have. Look at the Deputy Chief Justice. Right now, she's still having a case that is, she's still having a case in the courts, and many other things that have been happening. So, yeah, you mentioned the matter of criminal, justice system and the criminal laws that we have at this kind of country, owing to the number of, cases that sometimes go scot-free from more Kenyan cases. Yes, I think it is time also Parliament came in and, perhaps amended some of these laws, especially in the criminal, justice system that can help perhaps the judiciary so that they don't get an excuse as to why they cannot, give justice to Kenyans or serve justice, especially with some of these people who have been mentioned adversely in crimes that really affect the lives of the Kenyans. in this country. So perhaps there should be amendments and some laws that should be passed to make sure that our criminal justice system is watertight. There are no loopholes, because right now it's just a free fall.
It's a free fall, indeed. When Justice William Mutunga was in court, you could feel proud as an East African. A court of resort, a court of a final destiny. You could come out with something to say, well, I have been defeated, but well, Jesus Christ, let me go home. But this court looks like more of a village organizational structure headed by a village chief, paramount chiefs. You know how paramount chiefs operate in villages. Paramount chiefs walk around and say, hey, your latrine is not very good. Tomorrow we need it to be done. But it doesn't follow it up. This is exactly what is happening in the Kenyan courts. The Kenyan courts are not, there are no decisions being followed. They are looking for money and money and money. But when it comes to functioning in terms of law, for example, the Chief Justice of the Deputy Chief Justice of Republic of Kenya would not be in court, would not be sitting on JSC, whether it is what or what. A mere mention that you dealt with a bank, you used a letterhead of the judiciary to apply for a loan, is enough to cut you off and you go home. But she's still stuck there. And she's also part of the people selecting these same judges. So when you look at all these things, some of these things shame people. You feel ashamed to be an African when you hear such pitfalls in court. Cases, the courts in developed democracies, people even want to go there. People tell the police that, please, take me to court. Mm-hmm. Are there people in Kenya who say, take me to court?
Oh, no.
Some people would say, please, if this matter goes to court, mm-hmm. it is going to be prolonged. You might not want to go. Let's sort.
And that is why perhaps a lot of Kenyans bribe their way out instead of going to the...
Exactly. That's the point I'm making, Miriam, that you end up bribing the police or anybody to avoid going to court. Because the court has become more of hell. Is worse than hell. You have to go, if you go there, you will walk out. I had a case of work envelope. And the people, because in Kenya people say, why does this man does not like this court? I had a case of work envelope. It took me 3 good years. 3. And I lost 7 million Kenya shillings. My money. Including legal fees. Legal fees, which I had to pay 1 million shillings from my pocket. For the sake of this state of Republic of Kenya. Because I wanted the work envelope to be expunged. To expunge it from the books of Kenya. Because the report was malicious, the report was vindictive, the report chose the tall, the short, the ugly, the fat, put them on the commission of inquiry to be taken to the Hague. So this report, if it remains in the books of Kenya, tomorrow the chief prosecutor, you see she's moving, she was also in Qatar. They must have met with Mr. Maraga. Because Mr. Maraga also was in Qatar. There was a conference. Today you can see the pictures of the chief prosecutor is also in Qatar. You never know what they are planning. Maraga leaves a strike behind in courts. Goes around for the conference in Qatar. The chief prosecutor of International Criminal Court is also available there. So what do you think they are talking about? Madame Besuda is about to go. She's not going to go like that. Every human being wants history to remember him or her.
Legacy.
A legacy. Mm-hmm. We are talking of President Uhuru Kenyatta legacy in Kenya. I write all the things, the legacy trend every morning. But Madame Fatou Bensouda might want a legacy. And we might have a shocker. But this case of work envelope, if you look at the ruling, the way they went on taking me upside down, then they finally came and said, I'm not a Kenyan. Then they discriminated me. Okay, I left my partner, Mr. Muriuki. I want to thank you very much. I pushed the case from behind. I flew into Hague. I served the people summons. I served Ocampo. I served Kofi Annan in Geneva, the late. And guess what? Finally, one judge, he's on the Supreme Court now, went on dancing me. In fact, instead of me dancing, he danced me. He danced me. I'm in Arusha. Oh, and in Ivory Coast. I went on dancing. I lost money. If you look at the number of tickets that I went into those places, the number of nights, sleepless nights, not knowing who is going to kill you at night in a hotel, because you are fighting a very big issue. It worries me. So the judiciary in Kenya has something which is very awkward. You know, you when Mutunga was there, you could feel the power that once you step in there, you are not coming back. This one here, Mr. Maraga, I think he has something to see. Do you know, Miriam, I've been thinking very seriously. Maraga wants power. Maraga is not a judge. Maraga is a politician inside his skin. He is not a judge.
You think he has
he has an ambition for power. I'm telling you. If you look at the way Maraga sentenced, nullified the first elections, you can conclude. And then he made comments. You know, the comments that followed, forget about nullification. There might have been problems. We have moved the bridge. We are bridging the bridge. But
bridging the bridge.
Yeah, bridging the bridge now. Like the comments.
The London Bridge.
Yes, the Tower Bridge is now coming back. But the comments that Maraga made, political comments, the comments that Mrs. Madame Mwiru made, could tell you that these guys were tuned, they want power in Kenya. I'm telling you, given the surrounding, where did the Kenya court go wrong? The Kenya courts went wrong when NGOs headed by Chitua Sharia or Sijui, who, all these people, Haru Ndubi, Makau Mutua, Gladiwelo Teno, Njonjo Muwe, these are the men running around the corridors of the court. They married each other in a holy ceremony, matrimonial ceremony.
That must be unholy.
It is a holy ceremony.
Unholy or holy?
Call it whatever you want as an English person, but for me, it was a holy ceremony to frustrate Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. They showed it very clearly. If you can see the type of applications that NGOs filed, the NGOs became part of the court. They even initiated processes. The NGOs told the courts what to do in the Kenyan cases. So this is not, Maraga was helpless. Immediately after the nullification of the first election, Maraga flew into Hungary, George Soros' home turf, and Slovakia, where there was a conference which was arranged. All NGOs, including Maina Kiai, who had filed a very tough application. You remember Maina Kiai's application to finish this election. They were all crowded there. So when I tell you that maybe, and I'm honest, because this program is the punch. We don't tell lies. We are also going to tell where the court might be right. But for now, we are hammering the court. I'm sorry, we are showing the weaknesses of the court. Corruption, corrupt tendencies, a report came out that even files are handled by clerical officers, by security guards running with files. Money from the bond, bail money, is misused, is eaten. Petty cash is called upon. Yesterday, the registrar of the court said there will be no tea. So there has been tea, free tea flowing like in Canaan.
No tea, no newspaper.
No newspaper. Why do you want a newspaper in the office when you have bought one at home? Why are we not patriotic? Why can't judges also be patriotic? Why can't the court be patriotic? These austerity measures. Why do you drink tea of free tea when you can carry your tea? I have judges in London. My neighbor is a judge. When the wife died, I remained with that gentleman. I looked at him. I could cross over to his house and check to make sure that he's all right. And at times say, let's go down the pub and have one pinter. And then we talk. But this man used to go with a flask every morning.
To work.
He's a Muzungu, yes, with a flask. And the first thing that goes in his car is the flask. Why is it that the judges here don't carry flasks? And then they wait for this tea, heavy one, with loaves, you know. You enter an office, you smell loaves instead of smelling law.
And Doctor, I think that is a very good move, and I was just reading it now, what Madam Amadi was saying there, but also that should cut across the civil servant in this country. A lot of money is wasted in places it shouldn't be wasted, so I think that's a good move, the slashing of such unnecessary, like, judges can afford to buy papers for themselves now.
Yeah.
I think they can.
Let's behave like North Koreans. In North Korea, you can't go in a restaurant, eat food, and then leave the plate for the waiter. There is no waiter there or waitress.
North Korea?
Yes.
That's a special case.
No, it's not a special case. You go and wash the plate and leave it drying.
Then I will eat in my house. I'm not going to eat at there.
Exactly. You can decide to eat at your home.
Yes.
But when you have gone to a restaurant in North Korea, you must. I was there in 1981 with Dr. Milton Obote. We went to North Korea. And you see, it's a matter of discipline. The people wash the plate. You know, they put back at the chairs, even cleaning the table. A man in a suit is cleaning the table to leave it so that the next person coming will find this table clean. It's a law. It's a custom. People are used to it. Why can't judges in Kenya also carry tea from home? Why do you go and waste all this? If all we have 200 courts and the tea is being bought, we are going to spend about 10 million shillings.
They have been spending
in a year.
Yeah.
So
even more than that.
Why don't you do your own austerity measures within yourselves in the court before you seek for more money? Fine. An audit, I think, go ahead with the audit report.
So I keep finding in another report, named the Criminal Justice System Audit Report published in 2017 by the Judiciary through the National Council of the Administration of Justice, was that the criminal justice system was skewed against the poor, and the audit found out more poor people were arrested, charged, and sent to prison compared to rich who know how to navigate and wiggle out of the system. And you can see now with the mega public corruptions you see with these people in the high places.
Yes, because the most wealthy people,
Rhodesia the likes.
Yes, the likes of, look at I'm coming to those, maybe in this one we are going to help the court. At times, the laws of Kenya also become a nuisance. A law of giving anticipatory bail. I have never seen anywhere in the world except in the Republic of Kenya where a person rapes your daughter and goes to the court to get anticipatory bail saying the CIDs are coming for me, protect me. I don't know if other Africans have seen that type of law. Write to us, please. Let's correspond. Even in Britain, where we got this law, you are taken in first, the rest can come later. The police can decide to give you a police bond, or they will say you will go tomorrow. If it's the weekend, they wouldn't like to. If you have address where they tell you to go back home and appear in court on a date that they will give you. But I have never seen a law in the world that a rapist can rape and then go to the judge and seek anticipatory order. So that one brings me to what we call a bad criminal justice system. A bad criminal justice system is a system that gives bail to a thief who stole 200 million on Friday and he's charged on Monday, and he goes to Indian Ocean Island of Seychelles to spend it with his concubines, if not the wife. Because most of them don't spend the money with wives. Wives eat sukuma wiki in the house, while these other guys fly over women.
The wife eats the salad.
Yellow.
The concubines eat the extra.
Yellow.
From the corruption loot.
They fly with yellow women. They even hire jets to go. After they have stolen, they hire jets. It's a bad criminal system that lets out the thieves to go. So on this point, the government, the parliament, should also look at the laws regarding corruption. If I can ask Kenyans today, the people who stole money in Thika, who dug a tunnel in Thika, do you know of that case? Imekufa. It is dead. So as much as we want to condemn Mr. Maraga and his co-drivers or conductors, we don't know who is a conductor. Mwiru might be a conductor or a driver. I don't know. As much as we want to condemn them, let's also look at the criminal justice system of Kenya.
The
laws, the constitution. Everybody in Kenya has bail. Has bail. Immediately.
Because that is what the law says.
So what does it say? What does bail do? Bail entices you to go and steal more. If you're a hardcore criminal, you will say, Itaiba, I will get bail. Everybody. So the MPs, the parliament, should sit down, and I hope BBI has also captured this. I hope so, because people are telling us we should not touch BBI. I hope you capture the criminal justice system, the skilled criminal justice system of the Republic of Kenya, which makes judges helpless. They can't do anything. You bring a man who has stolen 500 million shillings, the bail is 5 million out of 500. And he has distributed it to his relatives. Some have even gone to London to bank. So as soon as you give him 5 million bail condition money, the money is flown one flight into here and is released, he goes back home. They need to change that. We are balancing this, because very many people were calling me when I circulated this poster. People were very worried that I was going to come for David. My friend, my name said David. But I was not coming for David, neither am I going for anybody's neck. I want to balance the argument. And that's what I've changed my tactics of balancing arguments, so that we see what is the problem. Maybe the law also helps to bring corruption in the court.
Because we've had the Chief Justice of Kenya, David Maraga, come out, especially when at the beginning of this year, remember even during that workshop that was held at the Bomas of Kenya, the anti-corruption, and people literally pointed at his face and saying, judiciary is the weakest link in this fight against corruption. And he came out and said, you know what, we are working with the laws that we have. We were working that the evidence the police is bringing to us, to the courts. So I think there are other outside of the judiciary, it's working with other different arms to make sure that justice is served to Kenyans. So perhaps there should be a relooking of the laws, the criminal justice laws in this country, and as well as when the police and when they bring these evidences to the court, what is it that they bring? Because a lot of times we know police is one of the most corrupt institutions also in this country. They have been named over and over again. So by the time it comes, it's already beating the course of justice. So yes, there's a lot of things that really need to be looked. But also our judiciary has to up its game in the war against corruption.
I agree with Joy Mwangi, who says the anticipatory bail is only given to the rich and the powerful criminals in cohort with corrupt judges. Otherwise, the poor face the law as it is, which is true.
And that even one of the reports by the judiciary itself, I was reading here earlier, they're saying, the justice system was skewed against the poor because the audit found out that more poor people were arrested, charged, and sent to prison compared to the rich. So the justice system is just meant to met justice to the poor. The ones who are supposed to, face the law. But for the rich, they find their way, and by oiling the judges' hands and the lawyers, and it's just a whole shebang.
In what makes Kenya a pitfall, the judiciary pitfall, have a pitfall is you find people saying that it is very useless to hire a lawyer in Kenya when you can hire a corrupt judge.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that?
That is an open secret. Yes.
You can hire, you don't need to hire a lawyer. You just hire a corrupt judge.
Do you remember the article that went on, I think at the beginning of the year, that it was a headline that said that lawyers became accessories to, is it corruption?
To corruption, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we are coming there. Because when we talk about the judiciary, we are not talking about Maraga only. And Chief Justice Maraga should not think we are only targeting him. There are so many components within the treasury and the judiciary that have created these loopholes and the pitfalls. For example, lawyers, when you are a court officer, a judicial officer, whether you are in defense or in prosecution, you remain a court officer, a judicial officer. You are supposed to serve your obligation, deliver your obligation as it is. The lawyers, defense lawyers in Kenya, are more, or they assist more in corruption than assisting the courts. Do you believe that? Do you believe it?
Yes.
We have lawyers who openly say, which court are you in? I will sort it out.
We've seen it play out very well in a lot of high-profile cases, especially. You wonder, how is it that person was supposed to be jailed? How comes they're still walking out here scot-free, even when the evidence is glaring? So yeah.
So when you look at a defense lawyer in London, a defense lawyer is more or less like a prosecutor. He comes to your cells and says, David, tell me the truth before I mitigate your circumstances. I don't think there is any defense lawyer in this country who asks his client, tell me the truth so that I can tell the court, defend you on facts. There is nothing here. I don't know. Maybe you might have smelled of somebody. There is Mr. Ombeta. I don't know how Ombeta runs his shows, but it looks like he's the man of the day with exactly what is supposed to be done everywhere in the world. Every criminal case is on it. So I don't know, but I believe there is something that is very strange. When you are a defense lawyer, you are a court officer. You are supposed to carry out the obligations that you have been given as a defense lawyer without interfering with the system, the justice that is in the court. Another pitfall that is in the court, where the courts have a problem, is the question of who follows out the bail. In this country, I don't know whether the government is paying probation officers. How many probation officers do we have? Our probation officers on government payroll, but not in physical terms. If you look at the judge says you have been sentenced or you have been told to pay 500,000, conditions are that don't ever cross near the scene of crime. Are there probation officers who follow this suspect who has been given bail to find out that he doesn't break bail conditions? One of the things that worries me, Miriam, and I've come out of this through my research, that women in this country who are battered by their husbands suffer a lot of abuse.
When they go to report this
Yes.
case at the police stations.
When a judge gives an order for women, for you not to go near the house where of the abused person, men have gone.
When you get a restraining order.
A restraining order. This restraining order is on paper. There is no probation officer who follows the suspect who has been given a restraining order never to go 500 meters away from this house. That's a pitfall in Africa. That's a pitfall in the judiciary.
There's no follow-up.
There's no follow-up. Look at the case of Mr. Amoro, Madame Amoro, NYS 2. They might be even enjoying in Dubai. If you go to the police stations today, where the orders were given by the courts that report twice at the police station, tell me one person in Kenya who has been arrested because he failed to report to the police. Show me. If there is one, nipigie simu. Just call me. There is no probation officer. So on this one, don't blame Maraga. Don't blame the court. I'm being honest and balancing the argument so that people don't think we are condemning the court without bringing out some of the obstacles that the courts have.
Because it's not a blanket condemnation.
Because it's not a blanket condemnation.
There
are certain judges within the judging system who are very good. They make good judgments. They make very good judgments that the public is very happy. I can quote very many judgments that have been made where the public has been very happy. But there is nobody following the suspects once they have been released on bail. That is not Maraga's case. That is not his work. His work is to interpret the law, deliver the suspects out of jail, out of court. The probation department, which the president should look and ask the minister of social services, where are these people? You release a rapist, a man who has defiled younger children. Release him to the community. He goes to defile more. It is not Maraga's case. It is the case of a bad criminal justice system. Such a person should be kept inside until the case is concluded. If he wins, he goes home. But you can't release him to go and open his zips everywhere around the streets of Nairobi. That's very wrong. And that one is a pitfall in the Kenyan judiciary. Let's go. We are still bringing so many things so that we come to a final destination. Where have we gone wrong? Where has the court gone wrong? Where has the public gone wrong? Where has the government gone wrong? And where have the lawyers gone wrong? What has the judge done or failed? If you look at the judiciary today, there is one aspect of the judiciary crying for money every day. President Uhuru Kenyatta does not allocate money. The parliament allocates money. The budget is done by the parliament. President Uhuru Kenyatta signs for what the parliament has seen. In this case, the Parliament of Republic of Kenya is responsible for the mess of what is in the court for having less money. Maybe the parliament saw there was no need. What do you think?
Well, if that money was budgeted and allocated to the judiciary, I think that they made their budget, and now I think they've used up all the money that they were supposed to use, and now they don't have any money. I think that that is something that perhaps Parliament should reconsider, even if they don't give them the whole amount. But we don't, like, I don't know if they resumed working today, but as per yesterday, the courts of Kenya were not functioning because the judiciary is demanding for more money, the money that was supposed to have been given, and they did not receive the whole of it. So I think this is, we need these criminals right now are celebrating out there. We need the court as it is, even as we wait for it to be reformed, because it needs some reforms, but we need it functioning. So people should start talking, because I don't think this puts us as a country in a very good position.
When you look at the word corruption, is part of the pitfalls of the judiciary. Anytime in Kenya when you mention corruption, I want to test you. Where does the mind go first?
Corruption in the judiciary.
Yeah. You say, I'm ending it up in the court. So you start plotting how you will get out of court. Which judge is going to handle your case? Your defense lawyer come to the cell, say today is Justice X. He's coming to take, don't worry, I'll sort it out. I'll fix it. So the courts in Kenya have become a fixing ground, not a ground for justice. The defense lawyers fix the cases. The judges accept the fixed cases. They make fixed judgments.
So it's a whole...
It's a circus.
It's a whole circus.
Yes, so corruption is embedded in the courts. And the courts are part of the corruption that we see today. The entire building of the Corruption Act, all this, if you see critical analysis of the attitude of the judiciary towards the anti-corruption war, indicates that the judges are more on planet Mars. Did you notice that? Once a case of corruption arrives in court, the judges make rulings as if they don't know anything. They hear, oh, the 600 million was stolen. It doesn't care.
I think we've had so many of those cases until even Kenyans, we've just become so desensitized. We don't even care anymore. The mega millions and billions that are being lost, especially the public money, that and then when they're taken to court, after the first reading of the, we don't hear anymore about these cases. So sometimes Kenyans are confused. But I saw the case for Obado is back in court. I think I read on Monday's newspaper that it was supposed to be starting again on Wednesday. So let's just see. And also we're waiting for the NHIF cases to see where it's heading. We're waiting for the KPLC cases, like we're waiting. So it is the wait and the lack of information from what is happening in the courts that makes Kenyans sometimes be a bit, skeptical when it comes to even having a confidence in our judicial system.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. That is a very great point that you have made. And when you look at the act, in fact, requires that they be heard on a day-to-day basis. But the judiciary has failed to hear cases. Is it possible to change the Kenyan court? into a 24-hour court?
You remember when we started and we mentioned about that self-evaluating, exercise that the judiciary did for itself. Apparently, that self-evaluation has not, nothing has been implemented. So you wonder, sometimes, you realize, okay, fine, there's a problem. So how do I go through finding the causes and all of that? But after you have done all that, you need to finish the whole process by implementing and, looking at the progress and how this is going. So this report, after the finding that on Kenya's judiciary did for itself, the self-evaluation has not helped any matters because things have not really changed much in that regard. So I don't know.
Thank you very much, viewers. We want to take a short break. When we come back, we want to look at the opinion poll that I commissioned last night silently. And I tell you, Kenyans, you have shocked me. 94% of Kenyans, 94% of Kenyans say the president should have, they don't care about the law. They just said the president of the Republic of Kenya should have told Mr. Maraga and the group to walk out.
94%. That sounds like the presidential votes in Rwanda.
Yes.
94%.
Actually, it's 90. It's a Burundi and a Rwanda. Rwanda got 99%. Burundi got 94%. But 94%
Kenyans.
out of 4,000 people that I asked online from last night when I was going to do this debate, 94% said, 4% said, let them be, we are interfering with the court. And then another 2% just said they don't want to know.
They don't care.
Yeah, they are fed up. They were talking about food in Kenya, this, that. They were even insulting me online, saying, "What are you? Why are you focus on the court?" But 94% say President Uhuru Kenyatta should do away with the court immediately. Should do away with the Chief Justice and his group. That even if you give them money, the money won't have value. Value for money. Is it value for money?
Yes, value
yes.
for money.
We used to, 94% of Kenyans said the court, the Supreme Court has a problem.
Should be a total...
The entire judiciary has a problem.
So for the people who were who voted and they want the entire judiciary, were they suggesting for it to be an overhaul or reform?
Yes, they reforming what about 170 of them said reforming was not worth it. They said the country should find another way or bring in hybrid judges.
Which is who?
Commonwealth.
With all these laws.
Some people said we should bring white judges. Yeah, from other country. He doesn't know you.
Who are not corrupt.
Who are not corrupt. But they said the entire judiciary of Kenya is in a mess. Another percentage. So when you add this and I put an average, came to 94% of most of those asked out of the 4,000 people who responded on my page. They said, hallelujah, let it go.
Are there any innovative ways that the judiciary has not tried yet in terms of making sure it functions well and it meets the needs of Kenyans when it comes to justice?
Yes, they tried. They suggested some innovative ways. Some of them suggested that we shoot the people who eat the money.
Yeah, that I'm a Christian and I love the Lord. But
no, I'm now telling you,
yes,
among those who responded, I will publish this thing tomorrow so that everybody can see on our website.
Yes.
So you can see those people said, shoot people in the firing squad, people will not steal the money at all.
The way China does it.
Yes. It's as a deterrent.
As a deterrent.
Yes. As a deterrent.
Okay.
Shoot them. Shoot some people. Most of them said some people should be given. Punguza Muzigo came in here. Yes, when most people said Okuro Okot thing on, it was tick. Bring it on. Bring it, baby. Ekuro Okot suggested that anyone found with on corruption should be given very harsh sentence, and even including life.
So those are the kind of the laws that you need to be
in Kenya.
But you see, the problem is, Doctor, this I don't think would work, because we know a lot of these politicians, they are the puppet masters behind all these people in the public service that steal on their behalf. So you think they will pass such a punitive law against a theft of public funds in Kenya?
Yeah, I think you are right. It is the same politicians,
yes,
who run to the court when their friends are arrested.
Oh, even themselves.
Even themselves.
They're part of the
So
scandals.
they are part of the problem. But there you are. 94%, 4% said they want the judges to remain. 2% said they don't want to know. They are more concerned with food and the prices that are hiking on a daily basis. That's what the report is. I will publish that tomorrow. Let's take a break, and then we come back with the more pitfalls and summarize. Corruption in the courts is real. And the only way that President Uhuru Kenyatta can do in order to fight in the last 2 years and some months left is to fix the judiciary. If the judiciary is fixed, then so be it. Let the JSC sit down again, find new judges and a new Chief Justice. That's all. That's the only way I see. Because this Chief Justice has got something. He wants power. He's interested in politics, I'm telling you. He also eyeing. You see, when they did not finish the women law, what is it called? The women law.
The two-third gender rule.
He even threatened to censor the government. You know, one of these days, this Maraga could wake up and dissolve the parliament.
But that is in the constitution. And that is where he was basing his argument.
I think he's going that side. So the earlier we find medicine that can cure these pitfalls in the judiciary, get the judiciary money. If the money for delivery, say 6 months, I'm giving you this money. I want to see some people locked up. If there is now no results, I'm sorry. I think Parliament sat down and saw there were no results. And the Parliament cannot give you money when you are not performing. They gave them the money that is available. So the people spearheading this are the agendas who actually
went to court.
LSK. They are beneficiaries. They are beneficiaries. Thank you very much. Let's come back and do a summary in the last portion of our show, where we have seen some good news. General Salva Kiir has just told us that he has sent a message to Riek to send the names for him to appoint the cabinet, but Riek has not answered. So don't go away. Let's come back as we finalize and wrap up, mention the main points, the key points which are the pitfalls of the Kenyan judiciary. Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers. I want to take a few minutes in the Africa School of Thought. I want to say a few points regarding the situation of the Chief Justice in the Republic of Kenya. The Chief Justice is part of the governance of the people of Kenya. He is one arm of the governance of the Republic of Kenya. The Chief Justice has never convened or tried to convene a meeting between the President, the Speaker of National Assembly, and himself to find out the weakest link in the fight in the governance of the people of Kenya. It is therefore very shameful for the whole Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya to use a platform, external platform, to announce a regime change proceeds using the platforms of international civil society to dismember the government of Republic of Kenya. As a Pan-African, I feel sorry and saddened by the events that are taking place in the judiciary of the Republic of Kenya. The President or the executive has done its best. It has given the funding that is needed to fight corruption. Every time the agencies that fight corruption arrange, indict, and deliver a suspect in the courts of the Republic of Kenya, the same judiciary that the Chief Justice represents, the same judiciary that the Chief Justice says it is very perfect, releases these people at times on flimsy reasons, blocks the route of justice, obstructs justice. The case of the former Deputy Chief Justice, Lady Mwiru, who was found who should have taken a plea, but because of the problems that the judiciary has and the weaknesses, the incompetences that the judiciary has, the Lady Justice Mwiru was allowed to petition the DCI and DPP's application and a charge. She never took a charge, a plea in the normal courts. Of course, the events are much bigger than what we see today. It is sorry state that the Chief Justice is the one who can mention about the failure, yet the word failure is actually associated with the judiciary of the Republic of Kenya. Everybody in the judiciary knows, every Kenyan, young or old, knows that there is a problem with the Chief Justice. I take one example. For the Chief Justice to talk about the nullified elections, that dynasties collect themselves in kingdoms, in business entrepreneurs win an election, shows to you that he has something that is against the current administration of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I therefore call upon the international community not to listen to the side that actually weakened the fight against corruption in Kenya, but help the Kenyan people to fight corruption. Because the weakest link, which all of us know, is the judiciary in Kenya. If the Chief Justice was pleasing the civil society funders, the NGOs that gathered in Oxford, let them hear this message, that it is him and him alone. It is his incompetency, the lack of direction, the lack of leadership, the poor leadership qualities, the lack of pointing out the mistakes in law. The law itself that the Chief Justice talks about is the one to recommend which type of law. He can also suggest to the other two arms of government that the laws in Kenya surrounding cases of corruption are weak. But as usual, he has been a weakest link, remains a weakest link. Who is plotting, who is planning, who is trying to execute a foreign instigated plan against the Jubilee government. Thank you very much, viewers. That is a statement as far as the situation of Kenya is concerned. The Chief Justice, therefore, is plotting a coup, a constitutional coup, because he is trying to blackmail the leadership of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much, viewers. God bless you. Thank you very much, viewers. Welcome back to our last segment. In this last segment, we want to point out the pitfalls and also suggest what can be done. To begin with, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Chief Justice Maraga, to ask him as an elder to take a step forward, try to sort out the mess that is in the judiciary by engaging the president and engaging other stakeholders. There is no need of punishing every Kenyan, every court user. Yet Chief Justice Maraga can go and talk to the president, can tell the president about the pitfalls that are in the court. That's one point. Second point, to help Chief Judiciary in the future, the Kenyan Parliament should look at the bad criminal justice system that removes thieves from courts, from jail, and throws them back to us. The evidence gathering, the tampering of scenes, where enough evidence is not available to crucify these guys who commit heinous crimes against the communities. 3, corruption is a pitfall within the judiciary. The Kenyan judiciary is a nest with eggs that they are fed on, and they also feed the people. So when you have such a nest which other people feed on, and then it feeds you, and then they also feed the other people, you actually have a worse temple than the one Jesus chased the gamblers from in Jerusalem. Mindset. I think the entire population, all of us in Kenya, should change the mindset. Our mindset is the trouble which make us commit these crimes. How long shall we go on preaching corruption? Our mindset is we like the people. We give them hero status when they have stolen. Even when they drive into our villages, we've stolen cars. We are fixed that is son of so and so's son has bought a new Prado. Even people make food. They prepare the little food. Have you noticed that those village ladies prepare very hard? They make sure that they put firewood, preparing for a thief who has stolen the money to buy a Prado, who takes that Prado to the village. Let's change in behavior. Our mindset are set in stealing rather than giving services. Another thing is to overhaul system, not to reform. I'm very happy that to some extent, I agree with the president when he said there are some judges, among these judges, who are rotten. It is important that His Excellency could pick out the rotten eggs and then appoint those that are not rotten, so that he throws them back to the JSC. But my question remains, where was the JSC when they were selecting these judges? So the president has a base, and he has said in his affidavit that he cannot appoint, and they wasted taxpayers' money to be removed tomorrow because there are rotten judges among the list, corrupt people who have assisted Ankashas to go and steal and bring more drugs in this country, cannot be appointed to go higher ladders at all. I agree with Uhuru Kenyatta on that. If I were the president, I would also do the same. Another thing that we need to do, Miriam, is in the criminal justice system, you don't only blame the judges. Let's also blame the people who are supposed to support the courts. The courts are not supported by probation officers, community workers, and the auxiliary services that actually support criminal justice system. Once the judges release these people on bail, there is nobody checking whether the bail conditions are being fulfilled or not. So let other ministries and other institutions stand up to fill that pitfall. Over to you.
Very important points there, Doctor, you've raised, and perhaps I'll just override on what you already said, and I don't want to water it down. I think you are very spot on. And of course, when you say the judiciary should start engaging with other arms that are also are responsible for making sure that the whole process of the justice system, works as it should. That is the police. Should the police bring in evidence that does not have any weight? Don't even start that case. Can the judges demand for concrete evidence? Because when you come in and you start a case and you are hearing that you don't have a concrete, the prosecutor comes and the evidence is not watertight. Obviously, that case is bound to fail from the onset. So if they feel that they require more material, then I think they should start demanding for it so that they have enough to make sure that these cases are prosecuted well. And also, this tag of corruption, the way you mentioned, when you mention corruption, who is the first person to think about? The judiciary of Kenya should start shaking off this tag of corruption that has made many Kenyans sort of, lack confidence in our judicial system, and this will help in restoring, the faith of Kenyans in their judicial system, because I think judiciary is a very important institution in any country, and so we need to have the confidence in our judiciary, and the judiciary should start making sure that this tag of corruption, really, they should do something about it, and so that Kenyans should, by how they prosecute, by how they make rulings and how they make judgments and how they handle cases that especially matters to Kenyans. That way, Kenyans can start having more confidence in our judicial system. And also, a Kenyan's attitude towards justice system. And Doctor, while we were talking here, this quote that is very famous: "Why hire a lawyer when you can buy a judge?" Kenyans, as much as we want to sit here and also blame the judiciary, blame the police, blame these other institutions, we are the ones who are driving this corruption, because we are more willing to pay rather than do the right thing. We normally love shortcuts, and this has propelled corruption to levels that we have never seen in this country. So Kenyans also, we have a blame on
mindset,
and a bad mindset.
We have exactly
towards justice in this Kenya. We just want
before the police. You see, when the police stop you
for overspeeding, or
then
an expired license.
Yes.
Why are you driving with an expired license?
Why do you drive with an expired license? If the license is not there, collect your son to drive. Yes. For me, when I go to London,
and that is a responsibility.
When I go to London and I want to go and hammer my pint down the road, I call one of my daughters or sons, drive me, take me. And he does not touch any alcohol. But for us here, father, son, daughter, all of you pour into the club and the dance and the drink. Then all of you tell even your son, drive quickly.
There's no reserved driver.
Yeah.
Get an Uber.
So we mindset, as you said,
towards the justice system.
towards the justice system that I will corrupt.
And we
I
really
will pay.
we really love shortcuts. Let's just learn to do things the right way and not encourage and fuel this bad vice of corruption. And my last point is justice should be for all people. Everybody should go through the whole process of justice, as we have seen it many a times. Even one of our viewers here has brought up a very important point that poor people can actually, they go through the whole court process and they get jailed or whatever happens at the end of that hearing. But for the rich, they find their ways to meddle and to oil the wheels of justice that so that it bends or grinds towards their direction. And that shouldn't be the case. So justice should be seen to be serving all Kenyans equally, cutting a board regarding whether you're rich or poor. Nobody should be able to get away with something they should not be able to get away with. So that is just my thoughts on this conversation we've been having today.
Thank you very much. And another thing that I want to bring to your notes is too much time of the court is wasted on petty cases. That's another big pitfall, which goes into the criminal justice system.
Should we have like a yardstick?
Why don't we get the yardstick
on the court?
On what type of cases? Serious cases.
And the ones that can be solved in the chief
outside. The Uganda system, for example, LOCs on the lower level, sort of some of these chicken thieves, the tomato thieves, cabbage thieves, carrot thieves, matoke thieves, cow thieves. Those cases in other countries are sorted by the local chiefs.
Because these petty cases are the ones who are forming a huge backlog.
Yes. So why don't we have these local chiefs sorting? You have stolen a banana. You have stolen one bunch of flowers in Muranga, where the Wakina Macharia come from.
Very good bananas.
People steal banana flower, tea.
Even my home.
If
your banana is ready and you've not removed it from the shamba, tomorrow if you come back,
yes.
you will
so the cases like that should not end up in the High Court. Cases like that, we should have alternative justice systems
to ease up the backlog.
I am now giving advice. Today I have not been very hard, and you not so Maraga because he pleaded so hard.
I'm shocked.
Yes. He pleaded and said, oh, look, why focus? Balance your argument. I believe, Maraga, today I've balanced your, but I'm going to ask you one thing at the last. Just alternative justice system, mechanisms, traditional justice systems that used to work when this Muzungu had not arrived here with a gown and a hat on, a witch. There were systems where chiefs could sit down under a tree and sort matters. Why don't we go back to those? Why don't we introduce arbitration colleges, centers? In every district, there must be an arbitration, a conflict resolution center, where some things can be, sorted out. If things don't involve high degree of criminality, they should be sorted out behind the scenes. The news coming from Uganda indicate that President Museveni has asked the African Chief Justices to use traditional justice systems to add them in, to harmonize the new English law and the traditional law, so that when sentences are passed, they are very good. I think that's what we are talking about here. And that one, it makes somebody fear to go to court. That I don't want to go to court because the court will sentence me. I will not say ghosts came and then allowed me to steal. You see in London, when you say you want to be released on bail because you have spirits coming, they will release you very fast.
They're scared.
Yes, they're scared.
White people.
So that is one of the good things that can be done. Meanwhile, in Uganda, Mr. Male Mabilizi has asked the East African Court of Justice to hold the Uganda elections until the age limit is determined. That's the news coming from Kampala.
Does the East African Court of Justice has the mandate to do that?
They have the mandate. They look into the dispute which is beyond the territories.
Please name for me the leaders who form part of the East African Court of Justice.
I think we have, Kenya has judges there. There are judges who go. We used to have Justice Isaac Lenola, who used to be in the East African Community Court of Appeal or Justice. So the Ugandan chap has moved further there to ask for the elections in Uganda to be stopped.
When did that happen? Today?
Today, yes. It has just come in.
So the Office of the Presidency has not responded to this. Have they put out any official information from their thoughts on this matter?
I mean, they have just put it out now.
Okay.
It has just come on the wires.
Tomorrow you might get some information from the presidency.
It has just come out from wires. It has come out from the newspaper wires. East African Court of asked to hold Ugandan elections. That is just coming right now from Kampala. It is one of the headlines in the newspaper, in an application where you can see this guy has heaped these books. I think it has just come. Thank you very much. And I told you that I love this guy. And we have done some contribution.
Yes, you
I gave some. Let him, instead of having demonstrations on the streets, let's go through the court.
Explore other avenues.
If the court refuses us, if the court refuses, then that's it. Let's accept the rule of law. Let's accept the rule of law. So, Mr. Male Mabilizi, continue. You have my support. When you are on judicial system, I have no problem with you. But you basically telling people to go and break people's things. No, I'm not happy with that. Mabilizi, I will support. Because the courts will make a ruling. They will find out whether they can stop an election in Uganda or not.
So which age limit is he challenging him?
The president is age limit. Age. You know, our president was supposed to stop working by now.
But this is an argument that is bound to fail. Age limit.
No, let's see. He's gone there.
But also, remember, they wanted
because the law
to increase the age limit.
The law had stopped the age limit. Said when you reach 75, you call it hallelujah.
But you remember they wanted to introduce another one that if you want to vie for presidency, you must be 40 and above to make sure they cut the knees, Bobby Wine. So I don't know which age. Is it the 40 years or the 75?
No, the 75.
The other one was not made official.
Yeah, but both of them will be now amalgamated to decide. Do you want a president who is 94? When he's 94, still remain the president. So the courts will decide.
We don't want him to get to a point where Robert Mugabe got, where he at meetings was just sleeping and falling off. It was embarrassing. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe
most of the African leaders are changing the constitutions.
Yeah, true.
Ouattara changed the age limit. He's above 76 now. He changed it, the one of Ivory Coast. So we allowed such efforts of constitutionalism, following the rule of law. It means in East Africa, we shall build that culture of law, of going to court to sort your problems, other than getting guns and going to the bush to come back and kill people or breaking people's property, destroying, burning them, demonstrations, people are killed. I allowed this young man from Uganda for taking that route.
All right.
Yes.
Good, but I think we should encourage more conversations around term limits. I think that will solve a lot of this.
So thank
problems.
you.
Yes.
Unless there's something else, I would like to say a few words before we close down.
The rest you can leave for tomorrow's Good Morning Africa show.
Good morning.
And then you can make your final remarks. Yes.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for giving me this opportunity. Justice is the shield of any nation. If there is no justice, or the judiciary is not functioning, no nation can function. A nation functions well with a judiciary. That's why we have 3-tier systems of governance. If one arm of the tier system is broken, the entire system will be affected. In this case, we ask Justice David Maraga to take heed, run fast, seek audience with President Uhuru Kenyatta, explain the difficulties that he's facing. Chest bumping does not solve the problems of Kenya. Kenyans want solutions coming from the courts, those who have stolen money to be jailed. Time wasted on haggling on how much money should be paid and where is the money coming from, should be sorted behind the scenes without involving the citizens who see the judiciary as the altar of justice in the whole world. I just take this opportunity to ask Justice David Maraga, if things are too thick on your plate, just take a walk in the park. Let me repeat that, because it seems Miriam seemed not to have seen it sink. If things are so thick in this court, save your career and take a walk in the park, because you are not helping the Kenyan judiciary at all. Thank you very much, viewers. That is our punch of Thursday. Until tomorrow, when we have Good Morning Africa with my great friend Miriam, a Friday, we might actually introduce some breakfast if necessary.
Oh, tea is necessary.
Breakfast here.
Tea is a way of life.
We might have some bananas around here.
With tea.
And no, with tea, and we eat in the morning. Right. Moses will run to the market.
Joking, yes.
And Jeff. And bring some things here. We might show how to have a good nice breakfast.
The African way.
How you prepare it, the way you prepare it. Thank you very much. This station, therefore, is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.